What's up? I am back. This is Kai Kai, Yuan Yufeng, Kai Convery, all my different names. Doesn't really matter that much. I want to honor all my names, of course, but they're just sounds. Let's keep moving. So, I am back with part 5 today of explaining the Diamond Cutter Sutra in plain English. And today we are covering the beginning, chapter 1 of the middle virtue section, the meaning of this text. So I'm excited we finally get to dive deep into the meaning of this text, and I can't wait to take you through this journey with me. So chapter 1 is called The Cause of This Teaching. So let me dive into it. And the formal sutra begins now, which is really cool, the teaching part. Thus have I heard. Once the Bhagavan, which means the Lord or the Blessed One, was dwelling in Shravasti at the Jeta Grove of the Anatta Pindada Garden, together with a great Sangha, or a monastic order, a monastic family, of 1,250 monks. The 5 perfections of the teachings by the Buddha. Once when Buddha Shakyamuni was living with a Sangha of 1,250 fully ordained monks at Jetavana Anathapindada Garden in Shravasti, I heard the Buddha say thus. According to Mahayana, this passage explains the 5 perfections. 1. The perfect place, Jetavana Anathapindada Garden in Shravasti. The perfect time, sometime after Buddha Shakyamuni reached Buddhahood. The perfect followers, 1,250 fully ordained monks. 4. The perfect teaching, the profound meaning explained in the Diamond Cutter Sutra. And 5. The perfect teacher, the guide of the 3 realms, Buddha Shakyamuni. And the 3 realms, I believe, are the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm. And we'll get into that. But let me break it down bit by bit. Thus have I heard. Once. These words, added by sutra compilers, mean I heard these Vajra words at that time. What did they hear? The Diamond Cutter Sutra that is about to be explained. Before entering the great parinirvana, Buddha Shakyamuni gave permission to Ananda and other disciples to compile the 3 baskets, Tripitaka, of teachings, the Sutra, Vinaya, and Shastra. In order to demonstrate the authority of a sutra, they should add, at the beginning, thus have I heard, once, and connections in the middle like the Bhagavan asked and Manjushri answered, and 3 at the end, praise like gods, nagas, humans, asuras, and Gandhavas all rejoiced. We don't have to get too deep into the mythology today. Let's just keep going. Furthermore, sutras fall into 3 categories: taught by the Buddha in person, taught through the blessings of the Buddha, and taught with the permission of the Buddha. Thus have I heard was not said by the Buddha in person, but it was added with the permission of the Buddha. After the Buddha entered parinirvana, 3 councils were convened to compile the Buddhist doctrines. Let me just explain real quick what parinirvana is. I believe it is nirvana without remainder. Okay, let me check this out. In Buddhism, parinirvana describes the state entered after death by someone who has attained nirvana during their lifetime. It implies a release from samsara, karma, and rebirth, as well as the dissolution of the skandhas. In some Mahayana scriptures, notably the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, parinirvana is described as the realm of the eternal true self of the Buddha. Okay, so that is parinirvana. After the Buddha entered parinirvana, 3 councils were convened to compile the Buddhist doctrines. There's disagreement on when these councils were held. Some say they occurred 2 years after the Buddha's parinirvana. Others say 110 years or 180 years or close to 400 years after. It is impossible to be certain. What is known is that through these 3 compilations, the Tripitaka was written down. In regard to the compilation of the Tripitaka, it is generally agreed that the Sutra Pitaka, or the basket of discourses, was compiled by Ananda, who was the foremost disciple in scholarship and memory, the Vinaya Pitaka by Upali, who was the foremost disciple in upholding pure precepts, and the Abhidharma Pitaka by Mahakasyapa, the disciple who was unexcelled in ascetic practices. Since the Diamond Cutter Sutra belongs to the Sutra Pitaka, I, in Thus Have I Heard, refers to Venerable Ananda. Once could be explained in two ways. One, when the Buddha gave a teaching. There have been debates on how long the Buddha taught the Dharma. Some believe for 49 years, while others say for only 45 years. Since it was not clearly recorded in which year and on which day this Diamond Cutter Sutra was taught, here once could be explained as one day. Or two, when an ordinary being gives a Dharma teaching, it must have a specific time, place, audience, and subject. But for the Buddha, these are not necessarily fixed. The Buddha could give various teachings to different sentient beings in countless worlds in the past, in the present, and in the future simultaneously. This state is inconceivable and unfathomable. In this way, once could also include the 3 times of past, present, and future. Again, I don't think we have to dig too deep into this. What I really want you to understand is the logic and the perspective of the Diamond Cutter Sutra, not the mythology behind it. Though I'll give you some mythology just for fun. Shravasti. According to the commentary on the Ornament of Clear Realization, I wouldn't even say mythology, it's more like cosmology, like an understanding of the Buddhist worldview. So, Shravasti. According to the commentary on the Ornament of Clear Realization, which is another teaching, just like Vaishali and Sarnath, Shravasti was one of the 6 great cities of ancient India and was ruled by King Prasenajit at the time of the Buddha. Jetavana Anatta Pindada Garden. There is a story about this garden. After taking refuge in the Buddha, the lay practitioner, which again is a non-monk or non-nun practitioner, Anathapindada, requested the Buddha to give teachings in Shravasti and planned to buy land to build a monastery there for the Buddha. He searched and found that the garden of Prince Jeta was pleasant, peaceful, and suitable for meditation. So he explained to the prince his intention to buy this land. Reluctant to sell this garden, the prince joked with him, "Unless you can cover the whole land with gold, I will not sell it." Since he had made offerings to 6 Buddhas in his past lives, Anathapindada had the supreme merit of being able to see treasures buried underground. Man, I'd love that too. So he went home, opened his treasure house, and with the help of his elephants, transported enough gold to cover the land. Inspired by his earnestness, Prince Jeta said, "When we discussed this transaction, we didn't include the trees. The land is now yours, but the trees are still mine. Let's offer this garden to the Buddha together." I feel like Prince Jeta was being a little bit sly here. Afterward, this garden was named the Jetavana Anathapindada Garden. As promised, Anathapindada erected an assembly hall, and the Buddha often taught the Dharma there. When visiting India in 1990 with my Lama, Jigme Phuntok Rinpoche, we went on a pilgrimage to this famous Jetavana Anathapindada Garden. However, we saw only ruins and rubble. No monastery and no city remain. It is chronicled that Buddha Shakyamuni displayed clairvoyance and subjugated the 6 masters of the heretics at that site. In memory of this event, each year Hlasa holds ceremonious Dharma gatherings from the 1st to the 15th day of the month of miracles, the 1st month in the Tibetan calendar, and our Buddhist Institute also holds a 15-day Dharma gathering of Vidyadharas. Okay, lots of logistics there. Together with a great Sangha of 1,250 monks, also called bhikshus. In the Tibetan version and I Ching's Chinese translation, besides the 1,250 fully ordained monks, it is said there were also great bodhisattvas in attendance. In my view, their translations were based on one Sanskrit version. Kumarajiva's and Xuanzang's translations, which are slightly different, do not mention great bodhisattvas. I believe this is because they used different Sanskrit versions. As we know, it is very common to see discrepancies in the phrasing and even the contents of Indian scriptures. So when encountering different translations, avoid asserting this is authentic, that is fake. Never simply agree on one version and be against another. Instead, understand that all these sutras were compiled by Panditas with the dharani of never forgetting. Since their capacity for never forgetting varied, understand how very common it is to see inconsistencies among different translations. That's kind of funny. Like there's different levels of not forgetting, never forgetting. Okay? I guess it's like some people have like completely photographic memory, eidetic memory, partially photographic memory. Maybe it's like that. For our discussion here, we will follow the view that among the Buddha's audience, besides monks of the basic vehicle, the Theravada, there were also bodhisattvas of the great vehicle, the Mahayana. Therefore, this sutra belongs also to the Mahayana. Why inferior food turns into ambrosia in the Buddha's mouth. Then, when it was time to eat, the Bhagavan put on his robe, held his bowl, and entered the great city of Shravasti to request food. The Bhagavan again refers to the Buddha. It means Lord. Put on his robe. If the Bhagavan had to straighten his robes before going out, there is no need to mention why we followers need to do the same. As disciples of the Buddha, make whatever you wear look pleasing. Certainly, this is not to encourage you to spend lots of time dressing and grooming yourself, but rather to encourage you to dress and behave in a manner that ordinary people do not get the wrong view, thinking that Buddhists are weird. I'm not sure if people would think that I'm weird wearing this. I think it's cool. After Dharma study, I think, you can do Buddhism stylishly. After Dharma study, some people think they have seen through everything, so they become sloppy and go about unkempt and unwashed. Ew. They believe this is a necessary high state for a Buddhist, but in fact, they have just gone to extremes. The result is that their family members start to worry, but keep quiet in order to avoid conflict, and their colleagues remain at a respectful distance from them. Some pretty subtle humor here. Actually, proper dress and a decent appearance are essential for lay practitioners and are also a skillful means for benefiting sentient beings. All right, request food. Some people might question, why does the Buddha become hungry at lunchtime like us and have to go out requesting food? As a matter of fact, it was to help sentient beings accumulate merit and to give Dharma teachings that the Buddha went out to request food, and not because of his own hunger, according to Dzogchen Master Khenpo Sudarge. The Sutra on the Inconceivable Secret says, like a gold ball, the Buddha's body has no innards. I don't know. The Golden Light Sutra also says, it appeared that Buddha Shakyamuni was requesting food. It appeared that Buddha Shakyamuni was requesting food, but he never needed the food because the Buddha could never be hungry. I'm not sure of that either. For me, I don't dive super duper deep in the mythological elements, things that cannot be proven and things that cannot be experienced. The only thing that I care about are the things that can be confirmed through our own personal experience, through human experience. Those are the things that I want to walk you through to help you understand the background and like these kind of stories. I don't really dive too deep into it because I can't really confirm it, but I can confirm the logic of Buddhism, and I feel it's very correct, and it's given me a lot of peace, so that's why I want to share it. Okay. Even if Buddha Shakyamuni was hungry, he could simply turn earth, wood, and rocks into food through his power of clairvoyance, and so he would have no need to beg for food. Through his power of blessing, one item becomes many, and insipid food, like rancid, bad food, becomes ambrosial. Ambrosia is like the food of the gods. As said in the Ornament of Clear Realization, in the mouth of the Buddha, even inferior food can turn into nectar. During a 3-month rain retreat in Varanja, Buddha Shakyamuni and his disciples suffered a famine due to crop failures. The Buddha was afraid that Ananda would not be able to stand such great hardship, since he was of royal birth, so he gave him a grain of wheat. After eating it, Ananda had no hunger for 7 days. Ananda was amazed and gained enormous faith in the blessing of the Buddha. Moreover, the Buddha had the samadhi of Akasagarbha, which could gather all worldly wealth. Therefore, there is no real need for the Buddha to request food. Some people say Buddha Shakyamuni is the king of beggars. This is obvious slander and has immense demerit. Although the Buddha did lead bhikshus to beg for food in the city, this was simply a manifestation. Likewise, even though the Buddha had uprooted his attachment toward I, he still appeared to say, "My disciple" and "my patrons." It is of foremost importance to keep the body straight up while meditating. In the city, after begging for food door to door, the Buddha returned. After having his meal, he put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, and sat on his throne. More on begging. This is still a common practice in Thailand. Holding bowls and walking barefoot, monks are usually on the streets before daybreak. I've actually seen monks do this personally. Remember, I was at a shop eating some chicken and rice when I saw some monks coming by, and a lot of people went out and put food in the bowls that the monks were holding. It was really cool. It was like a procession of monks just coming down and getting food into these wooden bowls. And the people seemed very happy to be able to give, and they gave, which was cool. Okay. Donors come out even earlier and wait with food in their hands at intersections, then joyfully line up and make offerings to the monks once they see them coming. By the way, Thailand is a massively Buddhist country, incredibly Buddhist country, and it's also known as the Land of Smiles, which is quite nice. Besides food, and they're super friendly. Besides food, they also offer personal hygiene items and clothes. Monks usually have very large bowls and always come back with full bowls. After having breakfast, they have enough left for lunch. In India, begging time is usually sometime before noon. However, as said in the sutras, on a few occasions, monks go to beg at noontime. However, this does not happen in Thailand. One perspective of begging is that it gives people a chance to practice generosity. And the Buddha actually did say that generosity is one of the key parts of the path to enlightenment. It's amazing in reducing the ego, seeing interconnectedness, and just cultivating that generous spirit. So I can see how it would help people generate merit. Washed his feet. Washing the feet after eating a meal is also a tradition in Thailand. In the past, when Geshe Sharab Gyatso visited Thailand, the king himself served the water for him to wash his feet. When we visited Thailand, we didn't have such preferential treatment, but some lay practitioners did serve us water for washing our feet. Sat on his throne. After washing his feet, the Buddha sat straight up on his Dharma throne. It is important to keep our body straight while teaching or listening to the Dharma and when meditating. Some people like to lean back while reading books and chanting prayers. This is very bad. If our body is not straight, the channels are not straight, the chakras, and this greatly affects our memory and meditation. Tibetan Buddhism always emphasizes body posture. Whether chanting prayers or meditating, our body must be straight and sitting cross-legged. Wow, that's a good reminder for me. I'm going to have to practice that. We can understand that the Buddha had his meal, washed his feet, perhaps relaxed on his cushion for a while, resting in mindfulness, and then was ready to teach the Diamond Cutter Sutra. Okay. Awesome. One quick note on that. If our body is not straight, the channels are not straight, and this greatly affects our memory and meditation. I'm a huge proponent of refraining from any behavior, if you can, that damages your energy channels, like your chakras. Don't do things that disrupt your root chakra, any of your chakras actually. Take good care of all of them, and if they are damaged, make sure you're repairing them, unblocking them, releasing them. And yeah, I like how they included this in here. But anyways, that is the end of that chapter, the cause of this teaching. And now we are getting into the teaching proper. I know I said that on the last one, but I forgot about the setting up of the scene here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.